Hello, everyone. What do you know about fasting? Today, we're going to talk to an expert on fasting, someone I can personally attest does fast. But he does it the smart way, and he does it as part of an overall health strategy. So let's find out together what that smart way is and what that strategy is. Welcome to Adventures in Good Health, a weekly podcast where we explore natural approaches to good health. I am your host and aspiring herb geek, David Maloof. This podcast is sponsored by Dr. Tates, Herbal Tinctures and Tonics, and we'll talk a little more about the tonics later on in the show. Today, I am joined by naturalist, master herbalist, nutritionist, detox specialist, lifestyle consultant, author, and diplomat of integrative medicine. And if you don't know what integrative medicine is, we've got a podcast for that. Go back one episode because last week's podcast, we talked about integrated medicine. So back to the intro. With over half a century of natural medicine experience, Dr. Stephen Tates. Okay, doctor, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I have a funny feeling that this is going to be a real fast podcast today.
Yeah, okay, that's cute.
Yeah, sorry, all right.
That's all right.
I'm a purveyor extraordinary of really bad jokes, sorry.
Well, no, humor is good, especially when we're dealing with health. Because if you stretch yourself out and worry about what you need to do, then you're not going to be successful. So little humor, little laughter works.
All right. So this week, we're talking about fasting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I personally like to eat. And if I go more than a few hours without food, I become cranky. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be really interested in terms of where we're going with this in terms of fasting. So Doc, go ahead and see if you can convince me that fasting is a good approach to health.
You hear that, audience? I got a challenge. I'm up for the challenge. Now, there are different health modalities. There's the approach with nutrition. There's hydrotherapy, which is water therapy. There's an herbal approach. There's an exercise and massage. Out of all of that, the most powerful technique for healing and rebuilding the body is fasting, knowing how to fast. Fast does not mean starvation. It means doing liquids. I'm not talking a water fast necessarily, but a liquid fast that your body's cleansing at a much faster rate. I'm not doing that as a pun, but when you're on a fast and you're getting good bowel movement, good blood circulation, your body can start to remove decades of waste that can contribute to a lot of health problems a lot quicker than just by diet or exercise or herbal therapy alone. Now, on a fast, you can incorporate the exercise, you can incorporate the water, you can incorporate the breathing and other things that we've talked about in getting the good sleep. But we want to learn how to fast, because when all else fails from a natural standpoint, fasting is phenomenal for its cleansing, rebuilding, and rejuvenating the body. And then when you combine certain herbs with it or liquids with it, you enhance the body's ability to slow down the aging and help with that cleansing deep into the cellular level. But so it not only does that, we know fasting from a cleansing and a weight loss, but the other thing we have to realize is that when you're on a fast, there's certain parts of the body that are actually resting. And one of those areas that is not working is your digestive system. Because when you're on a fast, you're absorbing your nutrients into the bloodstream from the liquids you're taking. So, gastrointestinal tract, large and small intestines
right,
are either at complete rest or close to complete rest, and the number of days we're on the fast, that rebuilds our intestinal area, that rebuilds the digestive process, because that doesn't have to be the old school digestion from food, because the liquids are absorbing into the bloodstream. It allows our nervous system to rest about 50 to 60%, which allows us these areas of resting to build energy that will help with slowing down aging and helping with, protecting us from health issues, or a variety of other kinds of challenges that we're going through. So it rests the digestive system almost completely, and it helps with the nervous system. It helps the kidneys and liver and spleen and pancreas to not be overworked with digestive process, because we're absorbing the nutrients into our body. Okay? And we all want to learn how to fast. Now, you can learn how to do a 1 or 2 day fast. I have people who are called foodaholics, that they got to eat food. And if they don't eat food, by halfway through the day, they're irritable or they're lightheaded and, other types of things. And that's a sign that the system's not functioning at its maximum. That's a sign that your body's not absorbing nutrients at the level that you might think, even though you might be having a good diet. So fasting helps kind of recalibrate, or in computer geek information, you're defragmenting a lot of the waste in your body to be flushed out. And it's like fasting's like a rebooting the system. When the system gets freezes, and you have to reboot it. Now, I'm not a techno, IT person, because I'm the kind of person you don't want to have me press a button, because I'll delete everything. But I'm just doing this in comparison where people can understand that it defragments old waste, it reboots the system while you're on a liquid fast. But it's a liquid fast. If you eat solid food, it breaks the fast. You can have thick energy drinks and stuff, but it's all liquids absorbing in. But the moment you eat food, that becomes a problem. Now, along with that, I've seen so many crazy programs for fasting. And I'm like, it violates the concept of fasting. So the first step in fasting is preparation, which would be good for you, David.
Right. So, all right. So let's just go back. First of all, let's go back to the benefits. All right. So fasting is when someone for a certain period of time, they stop eating solid foods.
Correct.
The benefits of fasting is that it can help some of the organs of the body. You mentioned also the gastrointestinal tract. You said it acts as a type of reboot.
Yeah, because it's resting.
Because it's resting. I know that there are certain programs where some people will also do the fasting because they feel that will help with losing weight.
Absolutely.
So that is another benefit. That's not a myth or something. That can be a real benefit.
That's a huge benefit.
Okay. Any other benefits? Before we move on to what is fasting and things like that, what would any other benefits that you can think of to fasting?
You're talking about you're getting a much higher level of nutrition, because you're absorbing the liquid nutrients into your bloodstream, which goes to the different areas of the body that is needed and doesn't have to go through the muck and mire of poor digestive systems or acid reflux or slow digestion in the body. It clears out waste in our circulatory system, on our entire system, much faster when you're on a fast. Now, understand, we can incorporate herbs in liquid form. We can incorporate protein shakes in liquid form, along with water and herb teas.
Okay.
Some people will say, well, you're not fasting unless you're just on water. That's a myth, okay? Because if you're on liquids, your body will show signs like the coating on your tongue will change. You know, certain physiological things will show you on a fast. I mean, you could fast on milk. It could kill you, but you know, it's still technically a fast because fasting is the abstention from solid food and consuming only liquids. You know?
All right. So there are some strong benefits.
But there's one more too.
Okay.
It's like builds the immune system, which slows down the aging, which helps certain areas that are weak, like your kidneys or your liver or your heart muscles and stuff. By doing this and nourishing the body and cleansing the body, you're actually rebuilding key organs in the body.
Okay. Now, you were about to go into...
How?
All right. You've convinced me that there are benefits. All right, I get it. There are benefits to fasting. But you mentioned just a moment ago, you know, you can help rebuild certain organs. You mentioned the kidneys, maybe the heart. But if someone doesn't, if they just say go cold turkey, or they just say, I'm just going to stop eating for some random amount of time, it's, in my mind, I'm thinking that would kind of put a shock in the system, which could be good or bad. I don't know. But
no, and you're saying it right. It'll put a shock in the system, and it's the wrong way.
It's the wrong type of shock.
Okay. It's the wrong way to go on a fast. When you're getting ready to plan for a fast, preparation is key. Well, in anything you do, preparation is key.
Right.
And with fasting, when you plan a fast, like there's a standard principle for every 3 days you're thinking about fasting, you want to have at least 1 day of preparation. Preparation would mean like I'm eating less solid food and more liquid foods, which would be good for you, David, because you're not cold turkey. Cold turkey will hurt you, okay? So I'm eating lighter and lighter foods, more plant-based foods, more soups and stews, and increasing my liquids. So I'm making this transition from totally solid food to some solid food, and more liquid. Then a couple of days later, it's less solid food and more liquid. So you're making that transition. When you make that transition, it helps you get into full liquid mode much easier. If you try to cold turkey or you do not do the preparation, then you go through what I call a probationary period, where you know you're fighting to stay on liquids because your food cravings is just gone crazy, especially if you know you're eating sugar and stuff like that a lot. Your body's going to go through these cravings because it wasn't prepared. But along with the liquids in preparation, your exercise is important. Increased bowel movement becomes important. Much more water. I mentioned the exercises. Another preparation is when you plan to go on a fast, don't tell anybody. Because you start telling people, oh, you're going this fast, it's going to kill you. Oh, you must be out of your mind. But most of my people, the first time they're going to go on a fast, they have the same comments you have. But I'm used to eating all the time. How am I going to do that? That's where the standard preparation comes in, because you're taking your time. Some people, it's 3-4 days. Some people, I have on a preparation for a couple of weeks, eating lighter and lighter foods and more liquids. And I would not call that a semi-fast, because now you're doing, salads and steamed vegetables and soups and stews along with a lot of liquids. Then you cut more and more of the solid food out, increasing more and more of the liquids. So you're transitioning into a fast, okay? You don't tell people because they'll try to sabotage you because they don't understand. The other part of preparation is you have a target date, That target date could literally be 2-3 weeks, based on the fact that you're eating all the time. So there's no limit on how long the preparation, but even in the preparation, your body's cleansing. It's purifying because you're doing more healthy liquids and you're cutting back on the solid food, especially the bad food, and you're eating more nourishing food. So it's already helping to cleanse and helping rebuild the body while you're in the preparation. Okay? Then you go actually into the fast. Now, the reason for the preparation is that there's a transition from food cravings to not wanting any solid food. There's a point that could be anywhere from 1, 2, 3 days to a week, depending on how you prepare, to help you get into doing full liquids. Okay, and that liquids will be water, definitely, fruit juices, it can be vegetable juices, it can be herb teas, it could be the right kind of protein shakes. I read where some people say, well, when you're going on a fast, you're only supposed to consume so much liquids and a lot of water. And technically or scientifically, that's correct, but that's not realistic in the real world. Okay, when I start people on a fast, and they say, well, how much should I drink? And I said, drink a lot of water, and as much of the liquids we recommend, like the vegetable juices or the protein shakes and stuff, you do as much as what makes you comfortable while you're doing all liquids, because the more days you're doing liquids, the less and less liquids you're going to want. So sometimes it's a psychological thing, like, I need to be drinking something every couple of hours, I'm going to starve, and then as you continue with those days, and the cleansing gets deeper and deeper into the cellular level, then you're going to want less and less liquids. You're always going to want water, but you'll find with the liquids you're taking, it's nourishing you. When you do a protein shake, just for example,
right,
with hemp protein, maybe hemp protein powder and some oat milk and some berries and stuff in it and some oats in it, that nourishes the body and helps your body cleanse. And this is on the days that you're actually eating as well. But when you go on a fast and you're doing that, your body's actually absorbing 3 times of that nutrients that you drank, because now you're on a fast, so the body's accepting all of it into the system, into the bloodstream, goes into the cells, and helps with that cleansing. Now, the third part of a fast, okay, but first, while you're planning your fast, you got to determine what liquids you want to consume, and I mentioned it, the water.
So this is something you need to work with a nutritionist, or an herbalist, or a naturopath.
But yeah, when in the beginning, you want to work with a naturopath. You want to work with somebody who has experience in fasting and has fasting for lengthy period of time.
Okay.
In the beginning, when you're first trying to make that transition into doing this, I tell people, you're thinking about fasting, read up on fasting. You'll be amazed what it will do for the body, and that knowledge will help you. But you want to be supervised your first couple of fasts, unless you're just doing one day. You want to be supervised so you do it right, so you maximize the benefits. Then the last stage is ending the fast. You're going to end the fast and slowly transition into eating solid food the same way you did the transition into all liquids. So you break the fast, you're eating light, just a little bit, still doing a lot of liquids. The days go by, you're increasing the food, and you're decreasing all the liquids you were taking. So it's like the other end of the transition.
So it's like you're kind of phasing in.
Phasing in.
And then you go through your fast.
Uh-huh.
And we'll talk about in a moment, like length of time.
Uh-huh.
But at the conclusion of the fast, then you start phasing out. So all of a sudden, when the day is done, you don't just like pig out on...
No, you don't have a Thanksgiving-sized meal. It's interesting you said that, because I remember somebody I supervised. I've supervised a lot of people on fast. Mm-hmm. Somebody I supervised, and he did well. But when he broke it, he ate, in my mind, a little bit too much. He had a soup, a sandwich, a salad. I'm telling him, no, it's really, really light. But you got away with it. But then he ran into some friends and said, "Oh, you're off your fast. Let's go celebrate." So they went to a fish place, and he had him some lobster and some butter and some biscuits and all that kinds of stuff. Now, he already had his soup sandwich and salad, which I told him was too much. On the same day, he stuffed himself at a fish place. Well, he tried to get up from the table and passed out because it was too much, for the body to handle coming out of a fast. So, following the rules, you maximize the benefits. If you refuse to follow the rules, then you might as well not go on a fast. Now, I've been on some lengthy fast, typically, I've done 10, 15 days, I've done 30 days, I've done 40 days, I've done 100 days.
100 days?
100 days. My longest was 119 days. And
you lived to tell the tale.
Not only that, my body strength and my system was cleansing. I was doing a doctoral thesis for part of what I needed to do for my naturopathic degree. And I wanted to do it on fasting, and I wanted to prove you can cleanse the body to a certain point and then still staying on liquids and actually gain weight back. My plan was to do 100 days. This wasn't my 119. My plan was to do 100 days. But in the process, because it was part of my thesis, I had 3 different doctors that was monitoring me, doing blood work, doing all that kind of stuff. There was a couple of chiropractors, medical doctors, naturopathic doctors. So they were testing. Most of them were fascinated. Like, oh, you're going to do what? And I go in about every week or so, how you feeling? They check everything, check my vitals. So why is your vitals stronger? Why you seem, have more energy and stuff? You're just on liquids, So I did that, and I counted one day at a time. It's like it's my 5th day, it's my 10th day. I didn't say I plan to do 100. I got 90 more to go. No, that's you mentally sabotage yourself. My goal was 100. But I was taking it one day at a time, and then I got stronger, physically stronger. I dropped from 178 pounds on this 100-day fast,
right,
down to 108. I still got pictures.
You dropped to 108 pounds.
108 pounds. I sent pictures home to my family, and I found out later they had a good cry.
I'm sure they did. I mean, so...
I had these little poses with my chest showing and stuff, and I could see my ribs and everything. But my energy level, mentally and physically, was off the chain. I mean, it was literally off the chain. Now,
you said that was 190 days?
No, I did 119 days.
119 days, okay.
But this was my 100-day fast. I did another one later on that went for 119 days. And this was my 100-day fast. And I got stronger and stronger and stronger now. But my transition out from the fast was 2 months because I had been on liquids that long. Now, I had all these people that were watching me. This was interesting. All these people that was watching me. And it was like, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it. I'm worried about you. You're not going to be able to do it. But then after I got longer and longer on the fast, they were like rooting for me, And I was at a gathering, and I said, it's my 97th day. I think I'm going to break my fast. No, you can't do that. I said, excuse me, it's my fast. No, I've been watching you. I've been living through you vicariously. Saying, I know somebody's getting ready to do 100 days. I said, that's your problem. My body's telling me that it's time to break the fast. Now, how does the body tell you that? It's like, I've cleansed enough. I'm ready to come on. Your sense of smell really improves. It's like the whole fast, you weren't thinking about food. You're thinking liquid. But, when I reached my 97th day, I was like, smelling. Somebody's eating some watermelon about 2 blocks away. I mean, you could smell.
I can imagine.
You could smell food.
So, Doc, I mean, that's a hardcore fasting.
The 100 days, yeah.
Yeah, and you were monitored regularly by other people.
Okay.
So when people come to see you, and for whatever the reason may be that you've determined and that you both have returned and determined that there is a fasting regimen that would be appropriate, I'm going to assume it's not 119 days.
No, or 100 days.
Or even 100. Okay.
It's like maybe 3 days, maybe
3 days. All right. So that's more my size.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just 1 day preparation and just do 24 hours. I mean, it can literally be just that much, or from sun up to sundown, and then eating something light. As you do this, your body adjusts and your mind adjusts because you reach a point like, I could do this. I had people who said, I did 24 hours round the clock, and they were tickled. And now they can do 30 days, 30 days, really easy because they've did it the right way. There's rules of the road.
And they prepared, and it sounds like they built up. So maybe the first fast, maybe sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
Then maybe a 24-hour one later on, and then a few days. Is that's what it sounds like? That's their body reacts well to fasting,
right? Well, the body's going to react well, but sometimes the body, when it's on a fast, if it's not monitored in the beginning, does a heavy purge of solid waste out of the system through the pores of the skin, through the bowels and stuff, because being on the liquids and on the fat, it loosens up a lot of old stored up waste for the body to start to try to flush out, which is why on a fast you want to make sure you're still doing liquids that will help the bowels to move, because it's going to help the cleansing better. Taking some bitter tonics, to help flush the blood, kidneys, and liver. And when you're doing that, and it's liquid, so you fall so far into that program, but that's where understanding the herbs or being with an herbalist will help you be able to know what herbs or what herbal formulas, or what tonics would be best to take. But in your preparation and on your fast, because it's about cleansing waste and helping your body evolve. So if you're taking the right kind of liquids for the cleansing part, while you're taking the smoothies or the tea to nourish you, now you've got that system set up where you can get that really, really good response. Sun up to sundown. Some people have like 2 days on and fast, 3 days off. 2 days on, 3 days off. The 2 days they're off is more plant-based, more steamed or raw food. And then they go back on liquids for 3 days. I determine with each person what I think they can handle, but I start them slow.
Okay. When I saw that we were going to be talking about fasting, I have kind of a negative opinion, because the only time I've ever actually gone fasting is right before a colonoscopy. And anyone who's had one of those, they understand, how that process is. And I don't remember exactly how long, but how I remember it is that I had to go a whole day without eating.
Right.
I was miserable. I hated it. I was literally in the bed practically whining and crying like a big baby, because I was like, oh, I'm so hungry and all that. But obviously, in a situation like that, I certainly didn't prepare, and that was not a true fast. That was a completely different process than what you're describing, which is planning ahead, kind of phasing in, phasing out, working with someone who helps, just kind of monitors or at least is aware of the nutrients that you're bringing into your body.
Yeah. Well, if you had to get a colonoscopy and they tell you not to eat for a day, well, guess what? You are on a fast. Okay? I mean, the motivation.
A most horrible fast, I might add.
Oh, God, absolutely.
I was the biggest baby.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you don't know, the benefits, and you don't know how to do it, I can understand people shying away from it. And I tell people, if you're not guided, if you don't know what you're doing, don't just jump on the fast. I've seen people with these fasting programs that they've gotten off the internet or something else, and it's the wrong approach to fasting. There are rules to the road in everything, and especially when you're dealing with natural healing. It's not a willy-nilly kind of thing. It's about what is going to be best and what's going to work well for the body.
All right, so anyone wanting to do this, obviously it would be a good idea that they reach out to their local naturopath, herbalist. They could obviously get the involvement of their doctor. If they would like to reach out to you, Doc, what would be the best way that they could reach out to you?
The best way would reach out to me is to call me. And they can call me on 404-943-1171 or 404-435-9336. Second one, they can also text me. First one is a landline. They can call. But when you call, you want to mention that you heard this information on the podcast. You heard it on the podcast. Then you might get a little extra fringe benefits because you heard me on the podcast rather than just random people. So I said, okay, they listen to the podcast, which means they are interested in trying to improve their health. They just need the guidance.
Perfect. And your contact information will be in the podcast information of the podcast service that our audience is using, as well as the podcast information on YouTube.
Absolutely.
All right, Doctor. This was a fast podcast. Oh,
Okay.
Another bad joke. Sorry.
He's full of puns and jokes today.
Okay. All right, Doc.
But we want to get him to do a fast, and maybe he can report on the podcast how he did with it.
Oh, that might be some content. But, you know, I might get tagged on YouTube for putting up a horror video because as I'm like moaning. All right. I just might try it.
Mm-hmm. And
I'll have you monitor me.
Absolutely.
And we'll see how that goes. Mm-hmm. All right, Doc. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now a quick word about our sponsor, Dr. Tates Herbal Tinctures and Tonics. Dr. Tates all-natural herbal formulas, which are the true definition of herbal tonics, have been available for over 20 years. These specially formulated herbal tonics are designed to help cleanse, heal, rebuild, and revitalize your body, which will help improve your overall health. Dr. Tates offers the Herbal Blood Tonic, Doc's Detox, Herbal Fat Burner, Herbal Female Tonic, and Herbal Male Tonic. If you would like to learn more about the tonics and where to pick up your bottle, call 404-459-8696 or visit drtates.online. That's drtates.online. All links and contact information is available in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. That does it for this episode of Adventures in Good Health. We would like to hear from you regarding this podcast and any suggestions you have for future podcasts. You can reach us at Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe and leave a rating or a review. Until next week, this is David Maloof exploring natural approaches to good health.